Hello everybody, how's everyone doing? Ame Gakita does. Alright, today we are just gonna discuss a little bit of version 4.2 for Genshin Impact, one of the game that I've been playing for every single time when I start VTubing. As well as that, we are going to discuss not only the story itself, but also at the same time, I will be giving out my prediction in regards to the lore, and anyone who follow me for very long will always understand that one thing for sure is that I always tend to be almost right, and most of the time when I come up with the theory, it's always near to it, or at least it was correct or something along the line. So this time around, I'm being a little bit daring, and I'm just gonna put them up. But the thing is, right, if you guys really want to put out your thought, your prediction or discussion, don't worry. Just write in the comment below and let me know. So with that out of the way, let's start out with 4.2, in which we are looking into this. They start with a very interesting way of saying like the when Neverlin talk about one thing is that the Hydro Archon is punished by the death sentence, which a lot of people was like, oh, Furina is gonna die, she's gonna die. But the thing is, right, from what I'm looking at it, right, they say the Hydro Archon, but they never say one thing for sure is that for which Hydro Archon. Anyone who follow the story in Genshin Impact, that we know very sure that there was a previous Hydro Archon in regards to the current Hydro Archon. Furina being the one that is known as the current Hydro Archon of Fontaine, but we know very sure in the story, and it always been highlighted by the Ocean Lead. Like, dude, the Ocean Lead always been one of the character that I kind of like been wondering, why the hell is she saying like, is she from a assassin from a village? But if you actually go and search it out on Ocean Lead itself, Ocean Lead is always has been stated as a race that is made of pure hydro energy origin from Fontaine. Fontaine. So the thing which we all know for sure is that they control water, meaning real life, and that they are origin from the previous Hydro Archon. Whereas that they all, due to the death of the Hydro Archon, the previous Hydro Archon, not the current one, they all escaped. Which means that the current, it's kind of interesting that if we actually look into the story itself, it's actually kind of weird that why did the current Hydro Archon not got accepted by the RD or the Ocean Lead. It's like they say that the Ocean Lead, in a sense, is that the story itself is stated that they like the Hydro Archon but not the current one. So it's more towards the point of like, who is the previous Hydro Archon? So if you actually look into the story itself, that they didn't want to accept Focoros, which is actually the current. It's kind of actually interesting that the current the Archon. So it's like, dude, who is she that caused a lot of people to hate her? So Focolor is also known as Lily Furina, is the current Hydro Archon where that is like just putting out everything as a show. We know in her latest story where she said that those the story fictional or along the line their fate is real. It's actually interesting to see the story, MiHoYo putting up the characters teaser in a ways that she is actually putting up a show. We know in Genshin for 4.0 and 4.1, we know that the trial to her is put it as, in a sense, like an opera or a stage show, which means that people are just there to enjoy the trial, whether we like whether they say like they give their opinion or whatsoever. The thing is, right, the way they put it as opera, it means that it's a drama, it's a show. The trial is in order, even though people is giving out their opinion. So it's actually interesting to state that in her teaser, she did say along the line that everything had been lost to the Great Flood based off the prophecy, and that afterwards it's a policy that she herself will say that unless you deceive the fate itself. That was stated in her line. So it's interesting to say that the previous Hydro Archon put up I believe is not a prophecy at all. A lot of people been stating that the prophecy has always been stated, but the one thing is that if we actually look into the story that is the thing itself, we know for sure there is a will. We know very very sure there is a will. And the one thing that actually been stated in the story is that the will is actually swimming in, I think most people will actually notice, is the primordial sea. Anyone from Fontes who touch that water will dissolve into the water, and we all know for sure is that they return to again. It's interestingly they return back to become an oceany, where oceany, which in a sense is to mean to say that the oceany is the origin of life for the people of Fontes, and it is very likely that the people of Fontes, the reason why they are maybe seemingly different is that they are actually born of oceany. Yes, no, I don't know, but this is just this is what they have been hinting to us, as we know very sure in 4.0 in the story of the disappearance of the girls, is that they all touch the water and they return. Interestingly is that they turn into water and that their mindset return and perform the oceanic. So it's actually interesting to know how do oceanic come into play into this whole thing, and we all know that they are known as the Lord for or the people of the water. We know very sure in Sumeru is that there's already the people of the forest. So I think that miHoYo using the people of the water, or maybe in a sense the mermaid might be the thing, because if you actually look, the tail is look like a fish. So I think it's like, if we are gonna use in real life term, I believe the people of Fontes might be actually mermaid. Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe I don't know. And the just like how if we actually use the one of the fairy tale of the merfolk, yes, the Little Mermaid, we know for sure is that when Little Mermaid returned to the water in the so-called bad ending, she turned into bubble, or she turned into the water, like more in, she just turned into bubble or turned into the water depending on which story you're coming from. So from how I'm looking at it, I believe that the Little Mermaid might be actually the metaphors for this whole story, and that people will, once they retouch the water, primordial sea or the water itself, they will return to the water and likely turn into the merfolk or maybe the ocean. So if we actually look, if that is the case, it's very likely to see how Furina, who is able to walk on top of water, is able to avoid that, because it's not just because she is the Hydro Archon, it's more towards the point that no one has it's like everyone has kind of like under so-called under the curse, and that if they touch the primordial sea they will turn into the water. But the thing is, like, when we look into the story itself, it's actually interesting to see that the giant wheel that, yes, child love to use that water itself, is that when we actually look at the water appearing, it's very likely from how I look at it that it's a possibility that the whale have been the monster have been living in the water, and that it was the original scene that the previous Hydro Archon was, she had been trying to prevent, from people to knowing about this whale. So if we actually think that the whale had always been a monster living in Tefar, and that through her power, or maybe through celestial power whatsoever, that they have been locking up this monster in the primordial sea, and the primordial sea is locked up to prevent people from knowing it. So what is the origin scene? Well, if we actually been looking into the story, and for somehow reason we have come across interestingly a character that have a design that is so similar to Honkai design, we can, and I mean, like, a lot of people have been wondering why is Honkai being part of it? Is it just because they're gonna is miHoYo they're using Hoyo verse, or maybe along the line of like Honkai character inside? Well, the thing is, right, we all know for sure is that there is 3 characters have been showing in Rush that had almost similar design. One of them, I would say, the Traveler. If you actually look at the Traveler carefully, both the Traveler has always have a design that actually kind of got me into like questioning them. Like, it also have been along the line, like, I was thinking along the line, like, maybe the Traveler had always been a thing that we all have to be looking out for, and the design of the Traveler has, like, the clothes, the design, the way they look is it doesn't seem like they belong to Turfa. And we all know from sure is that they are characters who had appeared or maybe traveling the star, and that is the reason why I come up with a theory that maybe the both traveler had always been a traveling passenger. And where do they travel on? I believe it's the train that appeared in Hokkaido Star Rail. That Pacific train might be the one that have bring not just Himiko and the others, but likely to before he meet out with Himiko, the train might be actually have people riding on it as a passenger, and these two travelers might be the one. Why would I say it that way? Well, the thing is, right, if we know that time, like people say, oh, the time doesn't match well, the thing doesn't match well. In Hokkaido Star Rail, in one of the sub quests, they stated that time move fast and slow for different universe, different world. So if we use that as the baseline, it's very likely that the traveler had traveled to the world, and that when the train leave them alone, the train might have traveled to a different timeline. So it's very possible, but although we are not very sure. So the thing is, right, what will happen is that what about the unknown god? Another character we know for sure is the unknown god has always been a thing. When we look at her design, the unknown god, her design is, a lot of people was the thing that initially she was the one to look very Honkai-ish. So it was during that moment when I start realizing that maybe, just maybe, if we have to use Honkai lore into it. But is it really true or not? I'm not sure. But we have to see how it goes and look at how the story is. But based on the current that we are talking about, the 4.2 theory, is that I'm pretty sure that we are going to look deep into Furina past, which is 500 years ago. And the thing is, right, people will be like saying like 500 years. The thing is, right, if we're in the story, farewell Neverland, I hope that you enjoyed the part you played those 500 years. If we know for sure what happened to 500 years, we know one thing is that it's already confirmed that the Hydro Archon was sentenced to death 500 years ago, right when the Cataclysm happened. The death of the nation, Kanria, has always been a thing, and we all know that there is a war happened that 500 years ago. So what does that mean? Well, if we actually look into one of the items in Genshin, we know for sure is that in Genshin, if we look into the Hydro gem, or maybe all those different gems, the gemstone, one thing it actually stated, one of the description is actually very interesting, is that my ideal had no stain. I must correct you, people here bear no sin in the eyes of the god. Only law and tribunal can judge people. They can judge even me. So pray my magnificent and purity. So the thing is, right, a lot of people saying that this might be referring to Furina, but I intend to think that way, and I'm pretty sure that it's very likely, based off the story itself, that we are actually not talking about Furina, but we are referring to the previous Hydro Archon. Which means that in the previous Hydro Archon, if the teaser is right, it's very likely that Neverland actually said the Hydro Archon to be punished by death sentence was actually referring to the previous Hydro Archon, where she was actually judged. So my prediction for 4.2 will be likely that we'll be looking into the past. We have seen Neverland's story where we look into the past, and that I believe that we will be looking into the past of Fontaine, where they are talking about who is the previous Hydron, what is the previous Hydro Archon ideal, why do she do such thing to protect the people of Fontaine? I believe that her sin was more towards the point that she was one of the 7 who take down the 8 nation, which I always deem it as Kanria, the nation without a god. And it's very likely the traveler was summoned 500 years ago to act like their god. their own Archon. So it means that if you are using chess piece as the main, why is it that there is only 7 chess piece but not 8 chess piece? So I'm actually very inclined to think that it's very likely that the travel was actually summoned to Khaenri'ah and actually be replaced as the Archon of Khaenri'ah, and that the Seven Nation and Celestia is not very happy about it, and that they decided to take action into their own hand, where Celestia control the Seven Archon and tell the Seven Archon to take down the nation. So what is the scene of the previous Hydro Archon? Well, I believe that because she take the life of the so-called innocent, in terms of the law, taking the life of innocent is considered murder, and that she is very likely to be judged based off the law, where it's very likely we will be looking that the scene will be like I prediction is that Khaenri'ah will be the thing that caused the previous Archon to be judged. We will see how it goes, but that is my prediction. But if you guys got any other thing to talk about or discuss about, write in the comment below and let me know, because I mean, like, there's just so many things we want to know, and there's just too many things that is very questionable. I'm not very sure, because the thing is that they put the Primordial Sea as the thing, and the Primordial Sea we know for sure is that there is a very likely is linked to a giant wheel that we will be fighting, and the giant wheel we know for sure is that is trying through the 500 years that it have been trying to break through and trying to release itself into the world. We know in Neverland Quest and in the previous quest is that something happened long ago, and in the 4.1 Archon quest, we know for sure that the Primordial Sea been trying to, the water have been trying to flow out. But the question would be, why do the water want to flow out? Is it very likely that something hiding in the water is coming out, and it's very, we can kind of see that in this story, it's very likely that in the Primordial Sea, this whale that had been swimming in the water as a prisoner have been always been trying to break out. But who is this whale? We do not know. But there are people hinting towards that it's very likely to be this girl. Personally, I'm not quite sure. We'll get to see more, and it's very likely that she is also a descender. If she is the descender, then my theory of that I have long ago, like one of the theory that I dropped and think long ago, that very likely that the Hydro Archon, not Furina, but the former Hydro Archon this girl might be a descender. That has always been in my mind for very long. If this is true, another of my prediction just got corrected and proven. So we will see how it goes though. I mean, like, a lot of my theory has always been dropped, and I've been refining a lot of the theory, and it's interesting to see that a lot of story, like even like a lot of people is like saying like, how is Neverland able to control his power to return the water that can kill Fontaine? Is that one of the things is that we all very know in the story in Neverland is that he is the water dragon. A second version of or more like a reincarnated version, but we're still not sure how the story goes. But if this is true, it's very likely that he will be given back the hydro genesis for him to utilize his full power. But the one thing that actually got me interested is that in this game, or in the teaser, they decided to use one of the world quests to indicate a link to the Archon quest. I always been saying like I always been theorizing that the world quest might be hinting towards Khaenri'ah, and Archon quest tend to be the nation story, the main story. So the thing is, right, if one of the quest line, one of the world quest where the giant crowd had made a return in the teaser, I'm actually inclined to think that this might be a link to Khaenri'ah, and it's very likely that the whole quest that we might be linked to the 500 years ago, the Cataclysm. But we'll see how it goes first. I think that's way too much for you guys to absorb, but if you guys think that is a lot, well, just replay the video, listen carefully, think about what you guys want to talk about, or write in the comment below and let me know what is the theory you guys have. I mean, like, they just so many things that I'm not quite sure, but it's just something that I've been looking into the video again and again and come up with many theory, come up with the thing, and yeah, I might be wrong. It's just all game theory, a theory for you guys to discuss about and write in the comment below. With that being said, if you do like this kind of content where I talk about random stuff and where I don't follow a single trend, don't forget to press dislike button right below me and subscribe right next to the like button, and we'll talk again more on the next video live stream. Or maybe if not, follow me when I'm playing Genshin in a live stream, and we'll talk again at the next video live stream. Yeah. With that being said, have a nice day or night. Bye.